What is a good word, everybody? Tiger727 back with a long overdue video. This will be my national video. I was able to make it again this year. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to, but I was able to make it work. Fortunately for me, I was able to drive to Milwaukee on Friday. Spent the evening with my daughter, went to dinner, and then we got up Saturday morning and we both went to the national together. So that was very, very nice to have her with me. Obviously looking at cards all day long is probably not her most wanted thing to do for a full day, but she had fun. She had fun looking at all the stuff and meeting some of the people that we met up with that day. So yeah, it was a fun weekend to spend with my daughter. Had a good time. So my intention when I went to the National was just to, look for something unique. Had a few Tiger things in mind, and nothing really specific. Maybe a Bazooka Harvey Keene or some Desert Shield or whatever. But I wanted to look around first. I only had one day there. I wanted to look around, pick out some things that maybe I'd go back for. I didn't want to spend all my money right away. And so we were looking around, and I found I think it was a 1914 Dolly Gray from my UP collection that I was hemming and hawing about. And then we went to another table, and I guess for just the sake of keeping everything in order, I'm going to show you these two right away. But before I went in, we got to the lobby and met up with Andy over at D's Collection and Vintage Card Steve. Andy and I had spent last year's National together, and this is my first time ever meeting Steve and his wife, so that was really nice. Spent probably 45 minutes in the lobby just talking. Steve had some other plans, so they weren't staying. And so one of the first things that I found, and I'm going to save part of this purchase for the end just because it's so unique and it's not even a card. But I saw these two. The guy had two LK lines actually. He actually had two of these and then another one. I forget the year it was. And I just liked this one better than the other one. I forget what year it was. And so it was early. I wanted to come back, so I didn't buy this right away. And I did not buy this one right away either, because I was hemming and hawing on the unique piece. And I was going to see if he wanted to lump these two and that unique piece here that I'll show in a minute, or at the end of the video, just because I cannot fit it on my desk and I had to spread it out on the floor, to be honest with you, to show you what it is. But I was able to lump these and the unique piece all together towards the end, or the first end, because we ended up leaving and then coming back, which I'll get to. So very happy to have those. So we're walking around, still hadn't purchased anything. And if you remember from last year, I'll show you an update from last year when I picked up this card. And I've been in a battle for a year now, and I would still regret if I didn't get this card. So I'm glad I got it. I'm glad Andy and Jim over at Picker GMS, who we also met with later on in the day, this past Saturday, or this year's National. So it was great to hang around with him for a couple hours and walk around and make some purchases. And he was there for the K-Line Gehringer and the unique piece purchase. But he was there for this one too, and so was Andy. So I've been battling for a year. Do I stick with 10s and just make this a lifelong project? There's 50 cards in this set, and on the back, I thought it was on the back. Maybe not. I guess I had to do maybe it was the research I did. Oh, right there, printed in England. So these are not even from the United States. So this was last year's pickup, and at the time there was only three 10s available in this one. And I've been battling, do I just stay with 10s, do I not? And we came across a table that had this one. Obviously it's not a 10, it's an 8, but it's Pepe Le Pew, who actually didn't know this, but with all the silliness going on in the world, apparently he is now banned, which I did not know, because he was always looking for, chasing the other cat that was painted like a skunk, and you know, basically, I guess he's banned because he's basically kind of like a sex object or something like that. So pure silliness, craziness, whatever. It is what it is. And this one, and for the story to be as comical as it was at the time, had $40 on it. And again, it was still early, and I'm debating: do I buy it because it's not a 10, or do I just buy it? And I told my daughter, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna probably." I said, "I might come back for that one." And she's like, "Dad, it's $40." And I'm like, "Good point." So I knew I was gonna get it at that point, and so as I continued to look at the table, I had never seen these before, and I'm having trouble finding any information. That the back is in French. Um, so let me get this thing off here. But this was the first one that I saw. 1992 Laughing Cow, Looney Tunes. These are not on Trading Card Database, so I'm going to have to figure out what the set is and send a request to Trading Card Database to see if they can find this set. The last time I had to do it for the 64 set, I requested it, and within like I think 36 hours or 2 days it was on Trading Card Database. So I'll probably have to do it with this one, but I just want to do some more research. I can't even find much online about these. And a guy was actually going to buy this, and I think there was $35 on this. And the seller would only take cash, and the guy only had card on him, and he was going to buy it. I mean, if they had taken a card, I would not have this card right now. When I say card, I mean credit card. But they were cash only, and he goes, "Well, I guess I'm out," and he puts it down. And I told the seller right away, I said, "I will take that, being this one." And right next to it was this. So I grabbed that one up too. Again, I don't know much about these. I don't know how many are in the set. This other one, the first one I showed you, is number 5. With any luck, there's only 5 in the set, but I highly doubt it. And so if anybody knows anything about these, please let me know, and see what I can find about them. And again, in the back, well, this one was 30, as you can see. This one was 35, and I think I got them. I think I got all 3. These 2 and the Pepe Le Pew for, I don't know. I think I got like 20 or $25 off or something like that. But you can see there, I believe that's French anyway. I'm not up in my French, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So, so interesting. And they're stickers, I believe. Yes, they are stickers. So, very happy to have these. And at that point, we're walking around. I found a few other things. I found a pop-up Mickey Cochran that I was looking at, and him and Han. And I'm like, well, I got to go back and make the unique purchase. But I will show that at the end, just because I'm gonna have to move my tablet. So I went back to the table that had these 2 Perez Steels, bought these 2, and the other thing I'll show you here shortly. And at that point, we were getting pretty hungry. But we were with Andy and Jim at that time, and Andy wanted to go and look at one guy. He had the I forget what card it was. I know it was a Red Heart. I know he showed it in his video. And I saw this. And let me preface this with, I am not a Dodger fan, especially in this day and age. However, I do appreciate, and I always enjoy, the Brooklyn Dodger history. And I saw this stamp, and I'm like, that's a pretty interesting, neat looking stamp. And I was like, well, if maybe down the road I'll pick this up. So we left, we went to dinner, and Andy started talking about, I believe that's how it went. It was myself, my daughter, and Andy, and he started talking about wanting to go back and look for I think it was a Colts rookie. So I'm like, well, if you go back, I said, I'm going to go back and buy this golden stamp. And he goes, are we going back? I said, that's the way it sounds. And so we walked from Shoeless Joe's, where we had dinner, just down the road, walked back to the show, over to this table, and picked this one up. And I asked the guy, so what else do you got that's unique? And he had I I forget the year, but it was a potato chip. I'm drawing a blank on the player right now. Drawing a blank on the player's name. And I'm like, nah, that's not really what I'm looking for. It was pretty rough. And then I saw this next to the other stamp. I saw the Jim Hughes. I like oddball stuff, so I figured, well, I might as well get the stamp too. Or this Jim Hughes as well, Brooklyn Dodgers. Very neat. Obviously the back is just blank, but nice piece. And I've always wanted one of these, never had one. And let me get this off. So I bought all 3 of these together, the 2 stamps. And believe it or not, I've never had one of these in my collection, but the Sparky Anderson rookie. So very happy to finally get one of these in my collection. I know it's strange for a Tiger fan not to have this in his collection. So we bought that. And so the seller that I got the Gehringer and the K-Line from, I was talking to him, and when I went back to purchase the stuff, and he was originally from Detroit, said his dad did stuff in the media in Detroit and retired at some point, and then they had moved to Colorado. And the first time I walked by, he had this thing on the counter on his table, and it was all spread out, and I'm like, what's the story behind that? And I guess with that, I will just move this tablet. Let's see if I can pause this. I'll just do this. Sorry for the movement. Yes, everybody, that is an apron. That's not a joke. That is in fact an apron. Let me fix this fold here in it. So I said, what's the story with the apron? And he said these were specifically made for the '68 World Series for the vendors to wear at Tiger Stadium. You can see Bye Bye Birdie, because they play the St. Louis Cardinals. And the vendors wore these at games 3, 4, and 5 in Detroit. He said he owns 2 others. One has a big barbecue stain on it, and he said he was too embarrassed to even try selling it. And then there's he had the one in his collection. He said there was also like a hat / beret type thing that went with these. He said those are super rare to find, but he has the apron and the hat. But this one, he said, is the color on here is one of the best that he's seen. And I did look on eBay. One had sold on eBay for well over, I think it was like $225, and it was pretty well faded. And as you can see, the orange on this is still pretty bright. And you know, I went to the National for the 2nd year in a row, 2nd National I've ever been to, and I said I wanted to buy something unique, and I think this qualifies. So I would like to frame it somehow and maybe get it matted just to keep it preserved as best I can, because right now I'm keeping it in a Ziploc bag, which is probably not the best way to do it, but that's what it came in. So yeah, that was my my big unique purchase. And my phone on delay here. Got a personal phone and a work phone. Got too many phones. Even the lady at dinner, I had my 2 phones sitting there and my wallet. She goes, "You carry 3 phones?" I'm like, "No." I said, "I have 2 phones and a wallet." She goes, she goes, "I don't even want more than one phone." I'm like, "Oh, neither do I, but I don't have a choice for work, so it is what it is." It was kind of comical. So just to show everything again, one last time, the Gehringer Auto, which I was super excited to get. I have some K-Line stuff already, but I just love the image on this one. The George Anderson rookie. Jim Hughes stamp. The Furillo and Wendler stamp. The Bugs Bunnies. And like everybody else, you know, the most important thing, you know, the cards are fun, looking's fun, but meeting up with people, you know, and that was the best part. Obviously, spending the weekend with my daughter was the best part for me, and buying these things with her, just the memories that we made. But getting to hang around with meeting Steve for the first time, Andy and Jim again, hanging around with those two guys for the day, and my daughter was a blast for sure. So that is my national recap. I'm sure people are tired of national videos by now, but wanted to get it in. I haven't done a video in probably 2 months, at least recorded, maybe 3, because I usually pre-record. This one I'm going to post as soon as I'm done recording. And hope everybody's doing well. Talk to you later.